A really fascinating history too, Ava. Looking forward to it. As Table 301's Soby's New South Cuisine celebrates its 25-year anniversary in Greenville, there have been a lot of talented chefs who've gone on to open their own restaurants. Our friend Ariel Turner, professional foodie with a passion for all things food and bev, is here as restaurant correspondent to talk about some of those stories. Welcome, Ariel.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. This is a fun day. I mean, National Sandwich Day, which I feel like we could talk about all day.
There's so much history,
so
really,
much history.
And history that we're fascinated in.
Yes.
First, the history of Soby's, the impact of this restaurant here, thriving in its 25th year, is quite an achievement. And there are not a lot of restaurant people in this town who have not been impacted by Carl Sobocinski's Table 301 and Soby's,
Yep,
right?
Especially at this point. And most restaurants last a maximum of 7 years if they're successful. So making it to 25 is huge. And then the thousands of people who have gone through that Soby's kitchen, either front of the house or back of the house, and then gone on to other restaurants, gone on to other industries.
Yeah.
They talk about the hospitality that they learned, true Southern hospitality, which is, has such a huge impact on the entire area.
They learn the hospitality and their skills get identified.
Yep.
We go into that. We're talking about 3 restaurants in particular, right, who broke into their own. They're not part of Table 301 now, but these chefs got their start with Carl. He blessed their next phase as restaurant owners. And we're starting with Papi's Tacos on River Street, right underneath Lazy Goat. Great story here.
So great little spot, especially if you have kids and you're used to going and playing in the water fountains and that they have down there when they're open. And so Papi started as a dishwasher back when Soby's opened in 1997. And then pretty quickly they figured out, this guy can really cook. He shouldn't be in the dish pit. He should be on the line. So he started working there. He was making staff meal for everyone, making traditional Mexican dishes. And then, of course, Carl is like, okay, here's an opportunity. Helped him open Papi's Tacos several years ago. And now they have left the Table 301 group, and Papi has his own restaurant now.
What an incredible rise, too. And it was
incredible.
because that talent was spotted and nurtured, and that's the kind of thing you love to see in this community.
Exactly.
Next, the restaurant. It's an Italian restaurant and oyster bar, Jianna. This is a favorite for a lot of people on Main Street.
It's a major date night spot for people. It's a place people go to celebrate because of the location. Second floor up, overlooking Falls Park. You really don't get a better view of downtown Greenville and a better Greenville feel than sitting up there. Getting oysters. It's funny, the photos that are being shown are not pasta because honestly, even if you're not into pasta, there's great fish. You get a board of prosciutto. I call that dessert. I'll go there for dessert and just order a board of prosciutto. Yes. And I mean, it's just a really beautiful location. And again, Chef Michael Kramer, who was previously with Table 301, wanted to open this Italian restaurant. Carl said, let's do it. They worked on it together. And now Michael Kramer owns it outright from Table 301.
A beautiful spot, another great story behind it. And then there's also Passerelle Bistro, the cozy French restaurant overlooking Falls Park and the Reedy River. What's the story there?
Another one right there on Falls Park. I mean, it's such a mood down there. And it started out with Chef Terry Musoff, who worked for years at Soby's, making that banana cream pie that everyone loves so much. And then she went and opened Passerelle and then moved on. And now the new chef and her partner, they own it together. And again, it was one of those situations where Carl identified people who could help take his legacy and move it. And they did it together, and it's such a great story.
And you talk about restaurant families. They really do have branches. I mean, you're born into a certain restaurant and you take those skills and move on. And you hear about all this stuff. You know behind the scenes because you're writing for Off the Grid Greenville, the nonprofit that promotes small business, and you've been in this for a long time. Anything you want readers to be on the lookout for?
Well, I think what we have coming up is showing some of those behind the scenes, like with farmers. How do farmers get started doing what they're doing? Some of them come from really interesting backgrounds. Where does our food come from that we see either at the farmer's market or at Swamp Rabbit Cafe or even on your restaurant menus? What all goes into that? And that's something that we're really going to be digging into. Haha, puns. I never intend to do that. But, we'll be talking about that and writing about that hopefully in the next month to really just help remind people that the food that shows up on your plate didn't get there by accident.
Yep, absolutely. And it's neat to know the process behind it, the people involved. Ariel, your phone's been ringing off. So do you get to stay for trending stories today?
I think so. Let's hope it stops ringing and then.
Well, I hope you can stay for trending stories. And we want to put your information on screen now. People can follow you social media to see where Ariel's adventures take her. And then, of course, Off the Grid Greenville, that information is on screen now.